Hello and welcome to our first impressions of Remnant from the Ashes, where we wanted to give our thoughts, Kuma and I. And actually, this was a game that I actually didn't know about until you told me about it.
So yeah, I mean, I stumbled upon it somehow. I don't know how I did, but it just landed on my lap. I was like, "Huh, Souls-like shooter. Never heard that before." So I just had to check it out. So I had to so look at some videos, and it really impresses me. I really like how it looked, and trying it, to for the past couple of days, it it like plays exactly how I see it and what I thought of it. So it was like definitely third person survival action shooter game with mechanics of Division, the shooter mechanics, and mechanics of Bloodborne or Dark Souls, like the difficulty, the dodging, like and with the melee attacks involved in it.
I will
And
say the shooting feels very tight.
yeah, I find it really fun. And as of right now, is at a discount price. Not full price game. It's $40, about $40.
Not bad.
It's not bad. But in my opinion, because the game is really limited in what it has, like the story is not the best of story, and it only have like about 3 to 4 biomes of world that it generates from. So it could get kind of old eventually. But if you play with a friend and if you just take your time playing it through, I think the first two playthroughs will be much, much highly enjoyable.
I think the biggest thing I'm worrying about right now, because I'm kind of enjoying it. Been about 25 hours into it.
Hmm.
The biggest thing is how much of the grind I'll actually be interested in after I finish my first actual playthrough of it. Because
Yeah.
if the story's not poking me in, it has to be the gameplay that's going to keep me going for these kinds of games. And since there's no actual loot system like a Diablo game or a Division, it's going to be a little tricky since all you have to do is just upgrade equipment and that's your grind or
I feel
farming
like
bosses.
what they're doing with this game is having the player try to construct a build. It's not the loot, but maybe it's the developing, building the type of gameplay you actually want to
Oh, for
play.
sure. I've been experimenting with a summoner build now, playing around with that. So I've just been doing different things, which I think is the point of it all.
Yeah, and the potential is there. They could easily add like a couple more like mods here and there, a couple weapons here and there, and new bosses to keep things fresh. And I feel like if they release DLCs and make it cheap or free, it will actually prolong the life of this game.
I think it wouldn't just be DLCs, but I think it would be updates. The
Yeah.
updates have to be enough because it started off very strong. There's been
Mhm.
over 20,000 people on Steam last I checked playing this. So they have to keep up the momentum. And they're definitely going to drop off, but their immediate updates definitely need to keep people interested.
Mhm. And like there was talks about making maybe this game crossplay so it could build a greater community. Because so far there's no PvP, it's only PvE strictly, and so this shouldn't be an issue in it.
Yeah, it's purely co-op.
Hmm. But there's nothing wrong. They did a really good job with the co-op. It was really well done.
It's very
I felt.
seamless. I think it's the fastest I've had just jumping in, even compared to Division.
Hmm.
Just the drop in, drop out is very quick.
And let's talk about the boss fights because it's that's how it's similar to Souls games. It's the
Right.
boss fight. So like and the first boss fight I fought with you, like the map is open. It's not restricted to one open little area. It has corridors, it have like tunnels, it have a bunch of minions. And that's distinguished itself from a Soulsborne game. It keeps things actually much harder.
There's a verticality to it because For that stage we were fighting, it was in like an industrial area.
Uh huh.
So there were stairs everywhere and different levels. So you had to think about which levels you're going to because we were facing someone who could teleport anywhere they wanted to. So we had to constantly think about where he was going to go and if we had to look up or down. So it wasn't just one story.
And there are these like I feel like each boss fight may have their own little mods, like how you said that they have explosion, like gases, like these different mobs that come out of nowhere, and it keep things on your toes. You know, like you can't really get good just by fighting the boss. You have to get good avoiding those mob minions and like avoiding those other attacks. And it's like it's harder for you to like even get to the boss. Like you know how we had to go through each like dungeon area, and each time you
Yeah.
die and respawn, it could be something different you might encounter. Like that couple of times we got surprised by this things
Right.
you never
So
witnessed.
there's different spawning elite enemies. So these are just stronger than your average enemy you find.
Hmm.
So they're actually randomized, which is pretty cool. Because there were some enemies that when I was fighting in my solo run, and then when I played co-op with you, I didn't see them before.
And like it's no joke with the difficulty. Like you said, it's actually easier playing by yourself with another person, and you can play up to 3 people, like normal like Soulborne's game. And it's just the difficulty of the monster, like the health increase, the hit harder. And I remember that time we died so many times. We didn't even get to like the end of the first dungeon, and it was fun. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't angry. I was laughing most of the time, like how stupid we
Yeah,
died.
it was just fun. I had a
Like
good time.
yeah, there was good times.
The only
Um,
downside I have about these boss fights is how ad heavy it is.
yeah, it's ad heavy. It reminds me of Diablo, like you know, a boss fight like that.
Kind
All these
of.
ads out in the open world.
I understand why they want to create ads was to create have so you never run out of ammo during a fight. But the
Oh,
problem
that's
is
true.
you already have ammo boxes that alleviate that problem because it just refills your ammo and they're not very expensive to buy from the shop. It's unlimited.
Oh, that's a good thinking. I actually forgot we have ammo boxes during the whole gameplay. I actually was looking around like panicking, like I need ammo. I need to kill things to get ammo. Until you remind me, I was like, oh, you're right. We do have ammo boxes. Maybe they might do like an update to reduce the amount of ammo boxes, make it harder to buy or something, make it limited. Maybe something like that.
I will say this, it's a very good attempt for making a Souls-like experience.
Uh huh.
With the bosses, I think it evokes the feeling that I'm playing one of those games
Hmm.
to a certain point up until the infinite spawning ads. I think would have been better if they had in their stages they're like, okay, they're gonna like back off and then there's gonna be an ad phase instead of always like constantly pumping out ads at you and you constantly have to think about the boss mechanics too. Which
Oh,
when I
okay.
thought about the boss mechanics separately
Hmm.
without the ads, it's pretty basic actually compared to other Soulsborne games.
Okay.
They have
I
less
think
attacks.
I think I know what you're talking about. Maybe have phases, like
Yeah, they
maybe
have
people.
phases, maybe ad phases or anything like that.
Okay.
Not have ads
So
throughout the whole fight.
okay. So maybe like the next update or patch or DLC, they could make it like a raid based kind of thing.
What do you
Phases,
mean?
like you know how in like MMOs and stuff, there's like raids, a group of people fighting this thing, fighting that thing, objectives, puzzles. Maybe they could do something like that.
Maybe it will really depend on the fight. Right now, I don't. For the fights that I've encountered, I don't think it would fit.
Nah, it don't fit.
No.
Hmm.
Like I said, they're very ad heavy. There's a lot of mobs. So you always have to constantly think about that. And I think that's the real difficulty of this game right now. Because
Yeah,
the
it's
last
juggling
boss
the
I
ads.
fight was it was just bombarding me with ads. And then they had one type of ad which was fine. There was just the range out, which I could deal with because there was cover. But then they threw in a bunch of fast moving melee enemies at me, and there were like 15 to 20 of them at the same time. So then I just got completely overwhelmed. So there's things like that. I don't think it's fully balanced.
Mm, okay.
Maybe for co-op play, sure, but for solo play, not so much.
Yeah, I think they're really leaning heavy on making this game multiplayer co-op,
I could see it.
and like maybe they should emphasize build, like making certain builds to like complement other players in fighting certain like bosses or levels, and maybe do like speed runs and stuff like that.
I think I could see speedruns. But just looking at the game graphically and everything, it's not the most amazing looking thing.
No, no, not amazing, but it's at a discount price. So I mean, how you say it, the effects looks great. Like the fire around that crystal is amazing.
Yeah,
That was
the
really
effects
pretty.
look
Uh huh.
decent enough.
I feel like the characters itself design could be more sharper, maybe better, because to me it looks like PS3, the older generation graphics, like the
It looks
design,
like last
character
gen, yeah.
models. Uh huh. Like I was also thinking like it looks like Fortnite. That's what they look like to me. Fortnite.
They look like Fortnite, but they were smudged with mud. That's what it
But
looked like to me.
so graphically decent. The sound effects sounds great. Like it sounds really good. Like the
Sound is
guns,
okay.
the music, um, and it definitely play it on the controller. That's what I recommend because the vibration, the you know the vibration for every gunshot feels good in the hands.
I mean, you're all about that vibration, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a solid game. If I had to go, if someone asked me, would you recommend getting it right now? I would say, if you're into it, sure. But I also think it has its share of problems right now that
Yeah,
it needs
definitely.
to iron it out, like matchmaking, bugs, glitches, like just first week problems that just need to get fixed soon.
True. True.
I think at the moment I would say with the reluctant yes.
Reluctant, yes.
It's just like all these problems kind of started piling up as the further you get in, and you just keep encountering the same problems.
Uh, well,
It starts to grate you.
okay. Well, I'm not gonna say it's a broken game because we played it really smoothly. For me, I may have some choppiness that I experienced more, but that could be just my internet connection. But can it be a day one purchase? I could put my support in that. It could be a day one purchase.
I
It
would
doesn't
say that
have
too.
it doesn't have any microtransaction. Nothing misleading. I don't think the developers promised anything crazy too, and they flat out state that they will be post launch support, and they're planning it some DLCs like pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, that's good. Maybe they
Hmm.
can up the end game for when people finally get through the game, and then what is there left to offer.
Hmm. But I could definitely see them easily putting more like different guns, different mods for like the guns, and new bosses.
Oh, for
Hmm.
sure. And
Yeah.
new areas.
I think we haven't talked about the guns yet, did we? Like the weapons and like the equipment. Like how does it work in terms of like a RPG setting?
You find it in the world. There's there's some crafting in the game, but you actually have to get boss materials to actually make those things.
Yeah,
So
it
your abilities
reminds.
are actually in the form of mods, which you slot into weapons, and these will be how you're gonna revolve your builds around.
Yeah, it's definitely really familiar in terms of RPG. Like those equipment, you have two guns and like a typical shooter. You also have a melee weapon, in case you don't want to use your weapon and you want to hit things up close. And 3 trinkets, right? For 3 items that you can equip
The
for other
necklace and 2 rings, yeah.
for other special
And
effects.
that'll complete your build.
Yeah, really, really flexible. You can do a lot with the game. Really fun. Definitely have remind me of Division, Soulsborne, and some Diablo-ish kind of thing.
In some parts, yeah.
hmm Definitely a unique mix that keep things fresh, but definitely have a lot of people interest. If you like some part of the game, you probably like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good foundation for future updates. The game is fun enough where I want to see what the future of this will be. I
Or
want to
what
be
the
a part of it.
developers will bring for the
Yeah,
next title.
because I think they did a good job with it. It's my favorite. Well, it's my second favorite Souls-like game I played out of all of them.
It's not even a traditional Souls-like game. It has a lot of guns in
It's
it.
not. It's Division Souls. That's what it is, in a way. The shooting reminds me of playing Division again, or it's just a third-person shooter mixed in with Souls-like like elements.
Definitely help my itch for those two type of games.
Yeah, we've been actually going kind of hard into it. It's crazy. This game just came out of nowhere and been a lot of fun.
So I hope a lot of you guys give this a shot and try it, and let us know what you think down below. Give us some comments.
Yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you next time.